Leah, can I give this to you? Thank you. All right. Well, welcome to Celebrate Recovery. We're so glad you're here. We have a bunch of new faces here in the room. We're not going to do anything to embarrass new people, but can we welcome them and welcome all of our newcomers? So glad you're here, everybody. Welcome to the recovery community. For those of you who might be working recovery in different spaces, and this is your first time in this recovery community, or maybe this is your very first time of stepping into any recovery atmosphere at all, let me tell you, welcome. The worse your story is, the warmer your welcome is. Amen. We're glad you're here. This is the fellowship of the broken. This is the fellowship of the jacked up. Is that a thing? Yeah. Okay, we just might have made it a thing. Okay, and we're really, really glad you're here. Jesus is a friend of broken people. And when you get a bunch of broken people together who know what they can't do, but they know what God can do, you end up changing a whole bunch of lives. Yeah, so we're glad you're here. We're going to talk tonight about the idea of grace. We're going to talk a lot tonight about grace. We're going to focus on principle 6. We just read it. I'm not going to make you read it again. We're going to put it up here on the screen. And we're going to evaluate all of our relationships. And we teach through the principles and through the 12 steps from January through December. So even if you're brand new to jumping into this, it's some of you might have a little bit of catching up to do, but not a whole lot. It's going to be pertinent. It's going to matter to your life, and it's going to be helpful. So principle 6, evaluate all my relationships, offer forgiveness to those who have hurt me, and make amends for harm I've done to others when possible, except when to do so would harm them or others. That's steps 8 and 9, and we're going to focus in on step 9 tonight, the 12 steps, which is to make direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. We're talking tonight about grace. If you had me pick one verse from the entire Bible, and like my friend Leah said here tonight, there's a lot of people who show up here where they're not sure about Christianity, but they know they need recovery. If that's you, you are so welcome here. But if we had to pick one verse from the Bible to really quintessentially paint a picture of what the journey of recovery is like, I would absolutely pick 2 Corinthians chapter 9. Is it chapter 9? It's chapter 12, verses 9 to 10. There it is. I'm good with what book it is in. I'm just not great with the verses, even though I'm a pastor. Can anybody relate to that? Okay, great. We're all real here. So look at this. So the Apostle Paul is writing this. And he says this, when it says, but he said to me, that's Jesus speaking to him in a moment of prayer. He is struggling. We don't know exactly what the issue is, but he said he had a thorn in his side, and that no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't fix what was happening in his life. And he prayed and he prayed and he prayed, and this was Jesus' answer to him when he finally had a breakthrough moment. And Jesus spoke these words to him that were true for him, but they're absolutely true for us. And this is the quintessential verse for all of recovery. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. That is the secret ingredient to recovery. The more you come in touch with how powerless you actually are, the more in access you get to God's power itself. It's this inverse relationship of the more I think I've got it, then the less I need God's help. But the more I actually understand I don't got it, then God's like, oh, finally, you've made room for me to show up and help you. So therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses. Who here brags about your weaknesses? Well, the three of us, y'all are wrong in the head. I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses. Why? So that Christ's power may rest on me. This is the essence of recovery. Embracing weakness so that Jesus' power to transform your life, a power that is greater than yourself, to restore you to sanity, may rest on you. And then it keeps going here. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses and insults and hardships and persecutions and difficulties. Anybody got anything difficult going on in their life? For when I am weak, then I am strong. Go back one, would you guys? My grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness, my grace. Grace is a funny idea because a lot of people get it wrong. People have different ideas of grace. Some think of what you say before dinner. Anybody love Christmas Vacation? Grace, grace, the blessing. Go home and watch it. You guys, good Lord. You all need to live a little. Watch some old 80s movies when movies were still good, dag nabbit. Talladega Nights. Okay, yep, okay. I'm not doing Ricky Bobby right now. No. Some people think grace is a name, which we have graces here in this room. Anybody love Grace? Yeah. There she is. All right. People think it's this weird religious thing that people sing about. Amazing grace. Thank God I'm not singing. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. You ever thought about what's so amazing about grace? Yeah. So let's talk about it. Author Max Lucado once wrote this about grace. I read this probably 6 or 7 years ago, and it stuck with me. He said, here's my hunch. We've settled for wimpy grace. And this is what he says in his book. This book, the one that he wrote this in, asks a deeper question. Have you been changed by grace? Shaped by grace? Strengthened by grace? Emboldened by grace? Softened by grace? Snatched by the nape of your neck and shaken to your senses by grace? One of my dear pastor friends, we used to be in a covenant group together, told me when he was in the absolute depths of his addiction before he became a pastor, that God's grace showed up to him in angels dressed in forest green sheriff's officer uniforms to take him to jail. Yeah. So, shaken to your senses by grace, yeah. God's grace has a drenching about it, a wildness about it. So if you are new to like church and religious environments, like, oh, they're talking about grace. No, there's something wild about this. There's something adventurous about this. If you actually get it, and not the stale religious idea, but the real thing. A white water, rip tight, turn you upside downness about it. Grace comes after you. It rewires you from insecure to God secure, from regret riddled to better because of it, from afraid to die to ready to fly. Grace is the voice that calls us to change and that gives us the power to pull it off. That's what we're talking about here tonight. And in these rooms, and in these communities, and in these circles, God's grace is the power you need to change your life, to turn it around, to walk differently. It's the fuel to recovery. The essence of the Christian story, if I ask you, what is the Bible about? Now, the right answer would be, Jesus. Yeah, that's good. I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version of the whole story of the Bible. And by the way, it's not just the story of the Bible, it's your story. And it's my story. It's these three phrases here. Good news, bad news, good news. In fact, everyone say that with me. Good news, bad news, good news. This is the story of the Bible. Good news. Pause. A lot of people, when they get introduced to the idea of God and faith and religion, especially if you're broken, the first thing they hear is bad news. They hear things like people tell them, you're a terrible, horrible, wretched sinner. God is a cosmic, pissed off being that you'll never make happy. Anybody ever got that religion before? Yeah, he has a smite button waiting to drop a piano on you. The message of Christianity does not start with bad news. It absolutely starts with good news. The first pages of the Bible are filled with good news. That God made you. God loves you. I don't care what you have done. God is crazy about you. God loves you. He made you in his image. I keep saying it over and over again, and I don't care. If God had a smartphone, your picture would be the background. He loves you and wants a relationship with you. In the Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2, God created the whole world, and the crown of all of creation, more beautiful than the Grand Canyon, more beautiful than Yellowstone, more beautiful than any type of natural landscape, was humanity. And God would walk with them in the garden in the middle of the day. He made you because he wanted you. And he wants a relationship with you and a friendship with you, a deep connectedness and oneness with you. That is very good news. That is the beginning of your story. Now, it eventually does go to bad news. The bad news is we screwed it up. We messed it up. Bad news begins in Genesis 3. That's not where the Bible starts, but that's where the bad news begins, with the fall of humanity. Just like how you can't have a clean house for 15 minutes with toddlers. 3 chapters into the Bible, humanity jacked it up. They jacked it up, and so did we. And maybe you're in a seat here tonight because of one of the ways where humanity jacked it up. Or maybe where you jacked it up. I want to know everyone's favorite type of movie candy. Shout out to me. Mine is Nestle Bunch of Crunch. Snow Caps, Raisinets, M&Ms, Gummy Bears, Junior Mints, Sour Patch Kids, popcorn, Raisinets. Okay, good. Okay. I used to love Runts. Remember those? Yeah, where's my 90s kids at? Runts were different types of candy shaped as fruit. And the very first time I ever remember knowingly doing something what the Bible calls is sin. Like the first time I knowingly chose to do something wrong and evil, and I lost my innocence. Really did. I did. I was at a grocery store, and this is back when they would sell candy. And where like scoops, where you could open it up and just scoop a bag of candy. You know what I'm talking about? It was at Albertsons in Tampa Bay. And I remember being there looking at that candy and asked my mom and dad if I could have some. They said, no, it's fine. And then it was like this red horned figure, like the 2 shoulders thing. It was like that. I swear it really was. It's like, just go ahead and take one. No one will know. And without my parents looking, I opened it up, I reached in, and I stole candy. And I ate it. Now, here's the ironic thing. I stole candy in the shape of an apple. Isn't that ironic? A little too ironic. And now here's the thing. Did I become a sinner because I stole a piece of candy? No. I stole because I am a sinner. You see the difference? The same thing with you. The bad news is we're sinners. We're broken people. And the really good news is not that God gives us a chance to undo it and to work our way back to him. The good news is that God's grace showed up in the person of Jesus, where he came chasing after you and he came chasing after me in grace. We're going to get there, buddy. Hold on. I'm the one with the microphone. Thanks, though. I'm going to skip ahead, everybody. I'm going to come back to the quote from Mr. Wolf at the end, okay? Got it? All right. I'm talking to them. If you don't know what God's grace is, let me help you understand it. God's grace, first off, it's a gift. And we're going to do this acrostic here. It spells out grace. God's grace is a gift from God. Romans 3 says this. For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, and we are all justified freely by his grace through the redemption that came by Jesus Christ. Grace is free. You don't have to do anything for it. Period, full stop, end of story. Absolutely free. It's actually that good. It's received by faith. So it's a gift and it's received by faith, not by working hard, not by earning it, but by trusting in it. Check this out, Ephesians 2, 8 and 9. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves. It is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. The way that you receive it is you go, really? It's mine for free? Yeah, it's for free if you'll take it. Okay. The way you receive it is by acknowledging that you need it. That's it. It's accepted. It shows us that we're accepted by God's love. Not by how hard you work to clean yourself up. We're accepted by God's love. It says here in Romans 5:8 that but God showed his great love for us by sending Christ to die for us while we were still sinners. If you want God to prove to you that he loves you, he already did it 2,000 years ago on the cross of Jesus. We're going to keep going here. We're going to skip the next verse. And then, so C stands for Christ paid the price. And check this out in Ephesians 1:7. It says here, in him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins in accordance with the riches of God's grace. So Jesus paid through this through his blood. It's not through your own effort. And here's the last one. It's an everlasting gift. This is not something that's temporary. It's forever, and it will change your life. It says this here in the big book. This is called the Step 9 Promise. Anybody familiar with this? It says, if we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we'll be amazed before we are halfway through. We're going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. Keep going. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. Keep going. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. And we were sudden. There's a typo here. We suddenly realized that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Excuse the typo in there. That's my fault. Grace is God is doing for me what I can't do for me. So what does this have to do with recovery? What does this have to do with Principle 6? What does this have to do with Step 9? First, you have to receive this for yourself. To let God do for you what you can't do for yourself. And here's what this has to do with Principle 6. Guys, now will you go to the Miroslav Volf quote? How about that name, Miroslav Volf? Here's the whole point of this. Inscribed on the very heart of God's grace is the rule that we can be its recipients only if we do not resist being made into its agents. What happens to us must be done by us. When you receive this gift of grace, this power that helps you in your weakness, that forgives your shortcomings and your failings, and gives you mercy for a new day and power to live differently. What you receive, you can't hoard. You got to give it away. I don't know how I could forgive other people. It's a lot easier when you know how much you've been forgiven. Pray for the slide team. I'm skipping around like crazy on them. Guys, go to Colossians 3:13. We're training somebody up there, and I'm giving them the worst experience ever tonight. All right, listen to this. Here it is. We're going to close with this. Make allowance for each other's faults. Reads like Step 9. Reads like Principle 6. And forgive anyone who offends you. Forgive only the people who I like. That's what it says, right? Yeah. Christine, is that what it says? The people that I like? That's what it says, right? Oh, crap. It says anyone. Forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Here's all this boils down to. If you have not yet received God's grace, take a step tonight and let him do for you what you can't do for yourself. And if you have received it, you got to give it away. Here's our tool for tonight. I'm just put it like this, pass it on. They got to go to the very end. Bless their hearts. There we go. All right, so you just got to pass it on. The way you forgive someone is by remembering that you've been forgiven. Questions for small group. You can take a picture of me in the screen, but of nobody else. Question number 1 for small group. How has experiencing grace myself helped me offer grace to others? And 2, what is one victory in my recovery this week that I can celebrate? God, I pray for my friends. Help us all to drink deeply from the well of grace for our recovery. And Lord, help us to live it out, to become agents of what we've received, to become a vehicle of the gift we've been given, that we would become a people of grace and live out the steps. We're going to respond in song. This is just a quiet, reflective time to think about the questions for group tonight and what God might be speaking to you. The girls are going to lead us.